Hello and welcome back to my vlog number 4 today, and we are going to be talking about what's happened over the last week or so. So the main thing that's sort of changed in the last week or so is definitely progress on my wig at this point. I have been in contact with the stylist again, who's sort of informed me on sort of the cut and style and that sort of things, and making sure that I'm okay with everything. So she has sort of updated me now that the wig should arrive roughly on the 19th, or there sort of after like she originally planned, which is absolutely fantastic news. As I intend for this wig to obviously be sort of my temporary, long-term, everyday use sort of wig, I am definitely putting a lot of eggs in one basket. This is going to be okay or sort of look alright. Either way, I intend on booking some extended time off of work when I decide to shave my head, just to sort of make sure I have that sort of leeway room where I can just sort of adjust to things. I think seeing a new version of myself is definitely going to be something that I really am going to struggle to adjust with some time, just because of the implications of what it has for me and things that I enjoy doing in terms of like doing my hairstyles and stuff. So it's definitely going to be sort of a struggle where I come to terms with how I'm doing my hair every day, and how long it's going to take me to get ready is going to be a big thing. And also just looking in the mirror is becoming very difficult. Well, it was difficult anyway, but as I'm slowly losing more and more of my hair, that reality of being bald is definitely coming through a lot more, because even when I look in the mirror now, I can, pretty much see me almost bald, to the point where I've now got something that I call a house turban, where after I get out of the shower that I just whack on to make sure I'm not necessarily looking at myself bald at the moment, just because it's still a bit harsh on the system, so to speak. Another major thing that's sort of happened over the last few weeks is I've definitely confirmed with work when I plan on shaving my head. This was already talked about in my last vlog, so I won't cover it again too much, but obviously now things have officially been confirmed to the point where I will be allowed the time off, and they're aware of things that are definitely in motion now, which is good news and awkward news at the same time. So in terms of actually styling my hair and how I'm actually sort of working with it, obviously you can see that I've managed to do this today. Summary, all this is the hair that I sort of had around this section. It's all brushed forward, and I've just sort of split it off and sort of created these sort of faux bangs and this fake sort of fringe sort of thing going on. It does the job, it's okay. It feels sort of weird having to brush your hair in very unnatural directions and ways that, and manipulating your hair in ways that definitely you wouldn't normally. At least it's managed to make something, I think, or at least hope, a bit more presentable in the time being. In terms of updating family, I unfortunately won't be able to tell certain family members in person about me shaving my head now. That's just more situational, because plans to meet up and seeing said family members isn't really going ahead now. So I will probably be having phone calls with them at some point this week to let them know that it's going to be happening in just over a week. So hopefully they're going to take it alright. I might call my mum/parents to let them know. I'll probably drop my sisters a message. I'm not too sure what the responses will be exactly, but hopefully we can cross that bridge when we get to it. Hopefully everything will go somewhat to plan, things will be fairly straightforward, and hopefully they'll be supportive of my decision and not questioning why I'm doing it in the first place. Now this is a touch late on in the vlog series that I'm doing, but it's definitely something I wanted to bring to attention. Seeing me upset about my alopecia is something that I wanted to share, because I wanted to show the inner turmoil that people with alopecia face. So when I am actually showing myself upset on camera, it's not a conversation that I get upset by having, if that makes sense. If somebody wants to talk to me about my hair loss, I am more than open to talking about it. It will not upset me. It will not hurt my feelings. The things that hurt my feelings in these situations are people that avoid talking about it because they want to make me feel normal, I guess. But in a sense, they kind of in my personal view, they sort of alienate me more because it's like pretending nothing's happening and everything's going to be fine, and it's not actually acknowledging the problem that's there. It's not having that conversation. It's sort of feeling like it's being swept under the rug. So when I talk about my alopecia, I don't get upset directly. As you can see, I am talking to the camera right now and it is not upsetting me. The moments that I get upset are not... The moments I get upset are not the fact that I'm discussing my alopecia. That is a conversation I have been having for the last 2 years and over. So that does not upset me. It is not my diagnosis of alopecia that upsets me. What upsets me when I am talking to the camera and I'm feeling pretty rough is just coming to terms with things long term. So obviously having alopecia, I have accepted that over the last few years and I have sort of known what I'm dealing with. I know what's happening. I knew this was going to come to the way it is at the moment. What upsets me is coming to terms with the long-term effects. So my life, as I've known it for the last however many years that I've been alive, I have lived it a certain way. And now that is completely changing. Everything about my daily routine is about to change. From the way I look in the mirror in the morning and what I see every single day, that is going to be completely different. We've all done it where you think about what you're going to look like in the future, or you picture yourself. I didn't ever picture myself as bald. I didn't ever picture myself not having any hair. It just wasn't an option for me because I didn't think this was a possibility for me. Whereas now, that's very much the sad reality. And it's coming to terms with that. It's not even upsetting. It's not upsetting at all to me. I can handle it easily. What is distressing would probably be a better word. It's just how overwhelming it is. It's so overwhelming. So from when I look in the mirror to how I do my hair, nothing as I know it is going to be the same. So that's quite a lot to take in. That's quite a lot to adjust to. When you look in the mirror, you identify as the person looking back at you. So this isn't actually the first time I've had to deal with these sort of emotions where you don't recognise the person looking in the mirror. I've dealt with multiple skin issues my whole life since I was born, and at many stages in my life I've gone through critical points where I don't recognise the person looking back at me, and it's very, very hard to take. More than anything, because it's not the person you want looking back at you. The way you envisage yourself, what you want to put out to the world, isn't always, unfortunately, what you see in the mirror. So it's a reoccurring struggle, if you will, but that does not mean that I am not well trained for it. It just means that at points it can get a little too much. So again, to overemphasise, when I'm talking about my alopecia, it might overwhelm me every now and then. That is only natural, that is only human to have things build up every now and again. But that doesn't mean I am scared to talk about it. It doesn't mean that it will upset me if you talk about it. It doesn't mean if you want to talk about it and ask me questions that I will want to change the conversation. In fact, you'll actually find with me that it's usually the complete opposite. I want to talk about it because I want to normalise it. I want to treat it as if it isn't a big deal. And the only way you sort of treat it as if it isn't a big deal is talking about it. So now with roughly one-ish and 1.5-ish weeks to go until I plan on shaving my head. Obviously there are a lot of emotions and questions flying around that are troubling me at this stage. So for me personally, these questions might be different to somebody else out there that might have their own version of these questions, but some might be similar. So I thought I'd sort of reflect on those inner questions that I'm having. So one for me is obviously I'm wondering at this point if I'm going to be making a mistake. I guess this is maybe the problem that I might face because I've planned it so well in advance. It's obviously crept up on me slowly, bit by bit, but I'm reflecting on it more. So if obviously this is something that you might do more spontaneously or you don't necessarily plan for, but you've just reached that point and you decide to shave it, then this might not be something you face, I guess. Something I've definitely been reflecting on, though, like I said. Another thing that I'm obviously sort of questioning at this point is how I'm going to do my hair every day. So for me, obviously, I'm relying on this wig that I've ordered to be good. Hopefully it is. It's also going to be in a whole new world of its own, because even when I'm dealing with my own biological hair, I know I can brush it around a tad easier and stuff like that. Whereas having a wig might be a bit different. So the other thing that's obviously a problem with wearing a wig is treatment. So shampoos and conditioners, that sort of thing, and looking into sort of hair care in general. It's going to be a whole new world of its own, because obviously washing your hair is going to be completely different, and how you look after a wig so that you get the longevity out of it and that sort of thing. So that's definitely going to be interesting. One of the most obvious questions that I'm probably asking myself, which is I wonder if I'll look any good with a shaved head. Now at this point I've lost so much hair that I am pretty much bald, bar about 10% left of my own actual hair. So you know, you can get a pretty good idea by this point if you're going to look okay bald. Thankfully, I think, touch wood, that I might have a decent head shape. But obviously there's still going to be that sort of aspect of, will I look good with a bald head without a wig if I wanted to go out like that, and that sort of thing. Next sort of question I'm obviously asking myself is how many people might want to see me with a bald head, and if this is something I might ever take into the workplace environment. My initial knee-jerk reaction is that I don't think I will. I think it might be a bit too brave, even for me, for at least a little while in my workplace environment. However, I do wonder if family and friends will be interested. If they watch any of these vlogs, they might end up seeing me anyway, but we will see. Obviously seeing things over camera is most certainly different to seeing it in person. So another major question that I am having for myself at the moment is probably more one on a personal level, just because it sort of parallels up to my own interests, if you will, is how I'm going to achieve those sort of 40s, 50s retro looks with a wig. Now, for me, I like dressing up in sort of retro-ish styles, but I can't help but think that hair and the way your hair looks, it's absolutely a massive part of that. It's one of the reasons I started getting into doing my hair a bit more, funny enough, was because I was sort of adamant that all those sort of vintage retro outfits that I was trying on still didn't just look quite complete until I did something with my hair, usually curls of some kind, and made it shorter eventually over time, so it achieved more of that classic look. But I can't help but think that with a short straight bob, it's not going to have quite the same effect. So I don't know whether to look into long term getting sort of retro wigs in those sort of styles, but the problem with that sort of thing is obviously money and how well they're going to be made, and you know, I'm not a massive fan of any artificial wigs that I've seen so far, just because they definitely don't have as much realism as obviously the real human hair ones, but that might have to be something I'll cross when I get to it. So to sort of add some end sort of thoughts onto this vlog, not really much has changed over the last week. Obviously I've lost a little bit more hair. Taking showers and baths has definitely become a lot more interesting, where I'm trying to avoid getting my hair wet because obviously it encourages a lot more hair loss, as a lot of people with alopecia will know that tends to be the moment where a lot of your hair will fall out. Something that I obviously mentioned in the last vlog, I think, was I've definitely noticed hair regrowth is definitely very slow now. So if I'm shaving my legs and stuff like that, I'm finding that I'm going well over a week and they're almost as soft as when I first shaved them. So, you know, every cloud has a silver lining, as they say, and I'm definitely not complaining on that one. Interestingly, one thing that I have noticed in terms of hair regrowth and stuff like that, my skin is still flaring on and off at the moment just because I'm not on any proper treatment, which hopefully is going to change soon. However, I've really interestingly noticed that my nails are actually really strong. Now, anyone who's living within this kind of sector will know that hair, skin and nails all sort of can be related. So it was just an intriguing thing that obviously I'm having a lot of skin problems and a lot of hair problems. Apparently my nails are doing well, which is great. So obviously, to wrap up with some sort of last thoughts, emotions are still evidently going up and down continuously. One moment I'm down, the next I'm laughing and joking, and then the next I'm just had enough and just want to get rid of it, and I'm so ready to move on. I do hope to squeeze in another video log, one more maybe before I shave my head, just to maybe sort of give you some more of those last minute thoughts that I'm having and the sort of plans I've got in action for it, that sort of thing. But after that, it will be me shaving my head. So if you want to see me shaving my head, I do plan on carrying the video logs on after I do that, so that won't be the end of everything, because I definitely want to reflect on those sort of first thoughts and mental processes that I will be going through afterwards, as well as up until the point. So if you want to see me shave my head, then it will certainly be coming soon enough. But in the meantime, please like, please subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you soon.